with another career interview. We have Toni Pearson, and she's going to talk to you all about the field of social work. So I'm going to pass it on to Toni.
All right. Brittany, thank you so much for this opportunity. There's so much about social work, as you know, when you ask me about, during the interview, I'm like, man, it's so much, but I'll say, just starting out with social work, the best part of my career is working with families and students. I'm a school social worker, and I started out as a parent liaison. So that being, you're bridging families and school together. And I went on to pursue my degree, my social work degree at Southeast Missouri State University. And I loved it. I loved it. I had a passion for families already. I had a passion for children already. But what I found was that there was so much more to social work. With me working in a school, I have a great team that I work with. I work with teachers. I work with counselors. I work with administration. I work with the nurse. I work with the custodians. I work with my dear lunch ladies. I work with several people, and we are a team. In social work, you can't do the job just by yourself. You have to have a team, and that team expands outside of the school. That team expands into community as well. I work with a lot of agencies like Big Brothers Big Sisters, Boys and Girls Club. I work with the hospitals, Women's Safe House, Connection. There's so many resources when it comes to social work and getting to know everyone in your community. So again, social work is such a broad field. Okay, so it's not limited to just school social work. We're talking, you can work in a hospital, you can work for a nonprofit agency, you can work in politics, you can be a social worker in the House of Representatives. That blew my mind. But again, it's such a broad career, and you have time to advance. You have, like right now, with me being in school social work, I'm looking to also advance into counseling. So you can always move up. You can work in criminal justice with a social work degree. You know what? As a matter of fact, Brittany, I wrote down some things. Did you know that you can work with the aging for those that love their older adults? You can work in aging. You could be advocacy with community. Again, administration, management, international social work. So you're working with families that are coming over into the United States. You're building that bridge. How about mental health, child development? There are so many fields to go into, regarding social work. So even research, I forgot that one, research, because we're always looking to improve and see what we can do to enhance the lives of our families and our children that we come in, contact with. One of the biggest things that I found with social work also is with mental health, we have to have self-care. You have to have patience. You have to be able to see the big picture from the perspective of different families. Everyone doesn't look like we do. And we have to be able to come to a realization that we have to look at it differently. We've all had different experiences in our lives, and sometimes those experiences create a certain outlook. But what social work does is it helps you look into that person's world and help them learn how to maybe cope with or adjust some situations in life. And it's a beautiful field.
I love that explanation. No one ever fully explained it to me. Like, that was such an amazing explanation about what you do. And I think the main thing that I got from it was the willingness to serve. Your willingness to serve your community in so many different dynamics. That's probably why people go into the field of social work. So that's really great. I have a follow-up question for that. So what does the degree path look like? Do you need a college degree? How can, you move up in the field? Is there a master's involved? So can you provide more insight about that as well?
Sure. As I said before, I started as a parent liaison, again, in the school district, and just building again, like Brittany, like you said, just serving the way that I could. But I decided to return to school, and with that, getting a bachelor's degree in social work, it opens up so many more doors for you to go into some of those fields that I, just mentioned. The other thing is, again, you can advance even higher with getting your master's. You can go into clinical work. Again, you can go into administration. What that looks like once you get to your master's level, you're going to go into a field of like practice and get some hours. There are a certain amount of hours, or I should say experience, hands-on experience that they would like for you to go into to practice this. Once you've completed those hours, then you move into maybe taking, for me with counseling, it would look like taking a test to get my license. And with that being said, moving into your license, I'm able to work with families more one-on-one or work with groups, able to diagnose, certain situations or behaviors with students. And you can complete your social work degree, at least your master's, online. I happen to be more of a face-to-face person, but there are several options out there to do it, and several different paths to do it. But the first to start with, just to enroll into a university and do those 4 years, and you go from there.
Now, you talked about being a SEMO grad. I know sometimes when you grow up in a town and it has a university, you're like, get me out of here. But can you talk on the side of going to a local university, your experience with SEMO's social work program?
Well, with SEMO's social work program, first of all, I was super excited to be accepted into the program. And then those first 2 years were basically, your university studies, you're getting your math, your English, some of those other electives out. But then those last 2 years are amazing. I had some great professors that really dug into what social work looked like, and what that means in the community. I love being here in Cape Girardeau. It's like a little mini city, and with that being said, the funny thing is, when I received my degree from SEMO, I found that there are times when I can be in the community, Brittany, and I will see students that were here at Central Middle School, 5th and 6th graders, that are now working in the community. And it's just amazing. It just amazes me. But yeah, I'm getting off topic, but
no, you're fine. I think it shows the passion. I think it shows the passion if you love that sense of community. And like I said before, if you're willing to serve it, and you're in a youth-based position where you're lifting your youth up and their families, like, there's that relationship and connection piece. So I think it just shows your passion if you're getting a little emotional about it.
Yeah. And with the studies at SEMO, I will say I was working full time and trying to obtain my my college degree. And I was still able to get those classes. It took studying. There were times I had to discipline myself to study even after work, to go to those classes, whether they were online or, face to face. But I would do it all over again, Brittany, because it was truly worth it for the information and the knowledge that I received, those 4 years.
Absolutely. Now, on the flip side, what was the hardest part about your degree in social work? Was there a certain topic or something that just kind of stumped you and you're like, I don't know if I could do this at all? But was there a certain topic area that kind of brought those feelings on?
Well, I will say, um, and just honestly speaking, being in college, your classes go a little bit deeper. They dig more into what real life looks like. And some of the injustices that that you see, or some of the injustices that may have taken place many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes those things may be hard to hear, especially again, if I go back to experiences. If you've had certain experiences and you've grown up a certain way, there are some things, or some classes that, how can I say it, that really puts it in your face. Like, there are people that may have some biases, and because you're a social worker, you have to kind of put your feelings in check, if I can say that. And you have to remember that these experiences are the experiences your clients may have. So you have to look at it a little differently. So that was a little uncomfortable for me, but with it being a challenge, I still embraced it because that's part of growth. You can't stay in your bubble. You have to grow beyond your bubble. So that was a cultural diversity class. So that, I would say, out of all the classes, that probably may have been the one that was a little uncomfortable. But again, that's where your growth comes in. That's where opportunity comes in. That's where, again, open-mindedness comes in.
Thank you for your transparency about that. And I think some students just need to know that there's those types of courses that might push them to be uncomfortable. And it doesn't mean that this degree path isn't for them. It just shows that the growth and opportunities are out there. So thank you for that. Now, let's just talk about your day-to-day life. I'm sure your day never looks the same Monday through Friday. But can you just give us a sample day about what a school social worker does?
Okay. So I will start out by saying every day is not the same. It varies every day. I can have a super busy day, mentally and physically. Some days it's just a little bit of a more smooth sailing. I can kind of stick with a schedule. But I will say this, on a typical, let's say Thursday, and I picked Thursday, in the mornings, I'm coming in, I'm greeting the students as they come in. After greeting the students, I go back to my computer, I'm checking my emails and see if there's anything I need to do, I need to catch up on, any phone calls I need to make, any contacts I need to make with students or teachers or even parents. Moving on from there, I go and do Tiger Lilies. I'm a Tiger Lily mentor, which is an awesome girls group. So I'm in 2 sessions and they're about 45 minutes long. So once I'm done with the session and with the Tiger Lily girls, I go back and see what I can do to help as far as recess duty, or if children are outside and it's muddy outside. Let's say that, it's rain, somebody has mud on their clothes, they may come in, Miss Pearson, do you have anything? Do you have any shoes? Do you have any dry socks? Do you have any, clean clothing? Do you have a hat? I mean, there's a variety of things because I do have a clothing closet and I have a food pantry in my room as well, to be able to serve parents and students as well. I go over to the board office and pick up food for backpack program on Fridays because we do give out food on Fridays to students. And there are just so many, I may do a home visit sometime throughout the day. That Thursday, I'm back at Tiger Lilies for my second session. Again, there's a lot of, I can just kind of be walking down the hall and may see a staff member. So you always have to kind of, in school social work, should I say, you have to kind of be on your toes and just have a ear to be ready to listen, because you're always just go, 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 you know,
Well, you
especially.
made me tired with your day. Wow, that was just a Thursday? And you
That
had
was
Monday,
just
Tuesday,
the
Wednesday before that. Whoa.
Yes, yes,
Well, what
yes,
do weekends look for you then? So I know in some professions, you know, you never know what that looks like. Does a school social worker work on the weekends?
yes. A school social worker does work on the weekends. It's not as many weekends as you would think, but there are times where you do have to, because emergencies don't stop on the weekend. Students needing things, or natural disasters do not stop, you know, just because it's the weekend. So life continues. So a lot of the times, I will say, there's not a whole lot of work in weekend, no, a whole lot of weekend work. Oh goodness. But there are some weekends where I've had to serve on the weekends. Yes.
Gotcha. Well, what advice would you have for students who might be exploring the social work career field, or just maybe things to think about as they start exploring just careers in general?
Hmm. And it goes back to with social work. And again, I'm sorry.
Staff, we have about 10 minutes before we will start our first carousel. The groups are on the back of the agenda that were in the cafeteria. We do have you divided into groups.
For some of our students who might be watching, we all know that's the voice of Mr. Rex Krosno, so
Yes.
he popped into our video.
Yes, he did. The joys of working in a school.
Yes.
Yes, yes. And
So we
yes,
were on advice.
yeah, on advice. The advice I would give to students is, if you're looking for a position where you can serve, where you can build relationships, enhance relationships, be a part of something that's much bigger than you, and you're looking for opportunity, I would suggest social work. There's a passion. If you're passionate about people, if you're passionate about helping or serving, if you're passionate about advocating, if you have a listening ear, these are some of the things that I would look for, and just, you know, think about. My original goal was to go into nursing, and apparently that wasn't for me. It was social work. It was social work. So, yeah.
Sorry, I was on mute. This was really great. I'm so glad, you know, your transparency and being your authentic self, and, you know, just sharing your thoughts and your career path with your students. Do you have any last minute thoughts about the social work field, or things that maybe we didn't touch on?
Let's see. It's just a great opportunity. It's a great field to go into, and you won't be disappointed. There's so much room for advancement.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Toni. We really appreciate you taking time out of your day for, you know, just sharing with us what you do each and every day.
Thank you, Brittany, and thank you for having me.
Anytime.